Ẹ káàárọ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ kí a gbàdúrà. Ọlọ́run ọba alágbára jùlọ, ẹlẹ́dàá àti alákòóso ayé òun ọ̀run. Àwa ń bẹ̀ yín wípé kí ẹ wá ṣe amọ̀nà wa, kí ẹ wá bá lè máa rìn ní ọ̀nà òtítọ́ pẹ̀lú ìfẹ́ àti àánú sí ara wa. Ẹ wá fún wa ní oore ọ̀fẹ́ yín, kí àwa lè máa ṣe gbogbo ohun tí yóò mú ìgbéga, ìṣọ̀kan, ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀, ìdùnnú àti àìlékún àìsíkì orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà lápapọ̀ àti ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó ní pàápàá. Àmín. Majority. Ẹ káàárọ̀ ẹ̀yin ẹlẹ́gbẹ́ mi. Ẹ kú àbọ̀ sí ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin tiyín ti ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Ẹ jẹ́ ká wo ìjíròrò ìpàdé ọjọ́ 22 oṣù kẹrin ọdún 2021. Page 316. (317). (318). ní ìgbà tí ó sí àyọkúrò àti àfikún, mo fi àṣẹ lé ìjíròrò tí ó kọjá. Iṣẹ́ tí gómìnà fi ránṣẹ́.
Olùdarí àti gbogbo ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin, kò sí ìwé kankan láti ọ̀dọ̀ gómìnà.
Àwọn ìfilọ̀ mìíràn.
Olùdarí, kò sí ìfilọ̀ kankan.
Ìwé ìfìhónúhàn.
Kò sí, olùdarí.
Ọ̀rọ̀ pàjáwìrì lórí àǹfààní aráàlú. Kò sí èyí tí mo mọ̀. Àlàyé ara ẹni. Àbọ̀ ìwádìí. Ètò ìmúṣẹ́ṣe tòní olórí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tó pọ̀ jùlọ.
Olùdarí àti ẹ̀yin ẹlẹ́gbẹ́ mi, mo kí gbogbo wa pé a káàárọ̀. Kí a tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ètò ìmúṣẹ́ṣe tòní, mo fẹ́ tọrọ ìyọ̀ǹda níwájú olùdarí àti àwọn ọmọlẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ aṣòfin wípé lórí ìdí pàtàkì pé a ní ìpèníjà ráńpẹ́ láti ṣe ẹ̀dà ohun àmúṣẹ́ṣe tòní láti èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì sí èdè Yorùbá tí òfin kan nípa fún wa láti lò fún ọjọ́ ìní. Mo fẹ́ dá lábàá wípé kí a so ẹsẹ̀ òfin ìsọ̀rí kejì ẹsẹ̀ 11 òfin ilé tí a ń lò láti fi ṣe ìdarí ìjókòó kí a lè lo èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì fún ìjíròrò ìjókòó tèmi. Mo dá lábàá.
Ẹ ṣé, aṣòfin Ọláyíwọlá.
Nǹkan tí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tí olórí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tó pọ̀ jùlọ ní àbá tí wọ́n dá, ẹ ṣé. Mo gbé lẹ́sẹ̀.
Gbogbo ẹni tí ó faramọ́ kan sọ wípé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Àwọn tí wọ́n faramọ́ kan sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Àwọn tí ó faramọ́ ni wọ́n pọ̀ jùlọ. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, first item on the other paper for today is in respect of Lagos State Mortgage and Property Amendment Bill 2021. Mr. Speaker, I move that the said bill, Lagos State Mortgage and Property Amendment Bill 2021, be read for the first time. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Desmond Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved.
Those in favor say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
The Right Honorable Speaker, sir, distinguished honorable members, it gives me great pleasure and honor to read for the first time the Lagos State Mortgage and Property Amendment Bill 2021. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Majority.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, next is House of Assembly Bill number 21, report to be presented by Honorable Yusuf A.A. Alimosho as Chairman, House Committee on Commerce and Industry in respect of the Cooperative Society Bill 2020. But before the presentation and to be able to accomplish this, Mr. Speaker, I wish to move that the House resolve to Committee of the Whole. I so move.
Honorable Afin. Those in favor say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Bisi Yusuf.
Mr. Speaker, sir, members of this great house, good afternoon. The report of the Committee on Commerce, Industry and Cooperatives on a bill for a law to provide for the registration of cooperative societies in Lagos State and for connected matters. The House at the plenary section of Tuesday, 15 December 2020, committed the above to the Committee on Commerce, Industry and Cooperative for further screening and to report its findings. In line with Order 85, subsection 3 of the Harmonized Business Rules and Standing Orders of the House, a day public hearing was organized on the bill on Wednesday, 30th December 2020 at Assembly Pavilion to seek input from stakeholders and members of public on the proposed amendment. Mr. Speaker, because of the volume of the bill, may I move directly to the observation. Observation. That's 3.0. Observations. The following observations were made by the committee from the submissions of the stakeholders at the hearing that, 1, in the interpretation section of the bill, no interest-based cooperative society should be included and clearly defined. 2, stay in the interpretation, LSHA to be redefined as Apex cooperative organization made up of secondary societies and cooperative associations in the state. 2, mediation panel to be drafted as dispute resolution panel to properly perpetuate its intendedness. Effect the same amendment everywhere the term is used in the bill. 4, stay in the interpretation. The statutory cooperative organization is not properly defined. It is ambiguous, conflicting as the apex body of the cooperative society in the state, just as LSHA needs specification or it should be expunged. 5, in section 3, there is need to specify an appointment authority for the position of director of cooperative to guide against whisker and corporate appointment. The commissioner is recommended as the authority and should be defined and should include in the interpretation section. 6. Section 3 to be redrafted with the phrase fixed to read, the commissioner may appoint a person to be director of cooperative societies referred in this law as the director in the state and such other persons as necessary to assist. B. The director should be appointed according to the scheme of service in Lagos State from among officers not below grade level 15. This is to emphasize the mode of appointment of director of cooperative. And C. The director will be responsible for registering, supervising, monitoring, and ensuring compliance with the law by operators of cooperative society in the state. 7. Section 6, subsection 2, the phrase in approved form is unnecessary in the section and should be deleted. 8. In section 6, subsection 7, the duration of validation of registration certificate of cooperative society be changed to 5 years against 3 years proposed in the bill to determine the functionality and the law to also provide that such validation should be at no cost to the society to avoid incurring unnecessary expenses. 9. In section 7, subsection 3B, there is need to specify the amount payable as registration fee to guide against arbitrariness and abuse. 10. Section 8, subsection 1, the provision of this section is capable of denying registration recognition to genuine societies whose initial and subsequent members are less than 20 due to withdrawals or economic factors beyond their control. 10 members benchmark is recommended. 11. Section 10, subsection 2, line 4, the phrase subject to appeal to the director whose decisions shall be final should be deleted because it enrolls the authority of the society bylaws on the membership and subject same to the dictates of director. 12. Section 14, subsection 2, last line, audited balance sheet should be replaced with statement of financial position. This is to comply with the international financial reporting standard. Effect same whenever audited balance sheet appear in the law. 13. In section 16, subsection 3, there is need to include the clause, the general meeting shall have the right to decide the disposal of their surplus as approved by the director. This is for control purposes. 14. Section 16, subsection 5 should be deleted in entirety because it arrogates too much control powers to the director. 15. Section 17, subsection 1, the phrase subject to the approval of director should be expunged to prevent unnecessary overbearing control powers by the director. The power to make bylaws is automatically conferred on a society at registration. The bylaw may, however, be submitted to the director for approval after drafting. Section 18, subsection 1N should be deleted as is unnecessary. 17. Section 19, subsection 3A, line 2, 3 officials should be replaced with trustees. 18. Section 22, subsection 1, line 3, replace director with the general meeting. The general meeting is the supreme decision-making body of the societies, whose members' contribution provide economic control and not the director, who is an empire. 19. Section 26 to be amended to read maximum rate of interest payable on special deposit, for emphasis on the special deposit. 20. Still on section 26, the phrase except as may be reviewed by the commissioner be expunged to avoid arbitrariness. 21, Section 27(1), line 1, delete or outstanding demand. 22, Section 32, subsection 1, A to D. The word director in all the subsections should be changed based on the agreement of members. Oh, please let me take that from 22, please. 32, subsection 1, A to D. The word director in all subsections should be changed to general meeting. Provisions of investment of funds of members should be based on the agreement of members of society as stipulated by its bylaws, without recourse to the director, who is not a financial member of the society. 23, Section 32, subsection 3, should be deleted because it is contravening the cooperative principles of autonomy, member economic control, etc. 24, in Section 38(1), line 2, there is need to insert the phrase either manually or electronically after the word books. 25, Section 38, subsection 2, 2 months should be changed to 3 months. 26, Section 38, subsection 3, the phrase as and in the case of continuing offense to further fine of 50,000 naira only for each day during which offense continues should be deleted for being draconian and impracticable. 27, Section 38, subsection 4, 2 should be expunged for being too vindictive. The frozen of an account as punishment for default in payment of fine is too severe and may have dire consequences on the investment of members of society. Besides, account should also be frozen only by court orders. 28, Section 41, subsection 1, annual subscription fee to be replaced with the audit and supervision fee. This properly explains the fee. 29, Section 41, subsection 2 should be redrafted with the creation of subsection A to D to read thus: pay into the fund within 3 months after the end of the year to which it is relates. B, administered by the director under the general order of the governor and shared between the state ministry responsible for cooperatives and the LSHA Fed in the ratio of 70% to LSHA Fed and 30% to state ministry. C, remitted by the director to the ministry and the federation referred to in subsection B, respectively. D, the director will publish an annual statement on audit and supervision fund. 30, Section 44, prescribe the establishment and composition of committees for only primary cooperative society without any provision for secondary and tertiary societies. The laws will stipulate clauses that will guide the administration of secondary and tertiary society to forestall rankings over time. Section 44 should also be expanded to cater for the change of nomenclature of the executive secretary of LSHA Fed to general manager, who shall be the administrative head of the organization. 32, Section 44 should also provide for the inclusion of LSHA Fed as core player in the composition of the various committees. 33, Section 45, subsection 1, line 3, single purpose society to be replaced with a CTCS. 34, Section 45 provides for the tenure of office of only primary and secondary society without specifying the tenure of office for tertiary/apex society like LSHA Fed. 35, Section 46, subsection 1 should be drafted to read thus: where an official should hold office beyond the tenure provided by Section 45 of this law, the director or any person authorized by him shall call a special general meetings of the society to dissolve and call for election for a new management committee. This is necessary to allow the corporators have a say in the affairs of the society in line with the cooperative principle of members' democratic control. 36. Section 46, subsection 2, should be redrafted to read thus: where the holdover is due to an effect of force majeure, such as act of God, epidemic, pandemic, terrorist attack, civil commotion, war, the director shall dispense with the dissolution of the officer until such a time as the force majeure is over. 37. If amendment proposed for section 46(1) is accepted, provision of section 46 of section 3, 4, and 5 should be expunged as they will no longer be necessary. 38. Section 49, line 2, delete trustee as it is unnecessary. 39. Section 53, subsection 2, to be amended with the creation of the following subsections. 2. 53(2). Each member of registered societies shall have one vote only as a member in the affairs of the society. 53, sub 3. In the effect of the votes given during a society election being equal in number, the chairman of the society electoral committee shall cast the deciding vote by secret ballot. And 53(4). The president has the power to cast a casting vote at any other meeting of the society. Renumber this section accordingly. Section 53 should also provide an elaborate framework for elections to include mode of voting and voting rights of each member, representative especially at secondary and tertiary local APES society, AGMs, and congresses in the state. 41. Stay on section 53. Provision to be made to accommodate a voting and open secret ballot as guideline for future election, as not to disenfranchise yes, of any member who may not be physically present during the elections. 42. Section 59(1)(d) should be expanded to read: between the society and other registered societies, such disputes shall first be referred to the Lagos State Cooperative Federation for settlement, but in the fact that the matter will not be amicably resolved, then it shall be referred to the director for resolution through mediation. This is necessary to find the roles of LSHA in the cooperative movement. Section 43. So, number 43, section 59, subsection 10, should be expunged because it is offending the rule of fair hearing. 44. In section 59, subsection 14, line 1, replace director with panel. This is to guide against confinement of excess powers on the director. 45. In the same vein, in section 59(4)(b), directors will be substituted with state. 46. Stay in the section 59(4)(14)(d), line 3. Redraft to read: the panel may seek a court order for a conditional attachment of the said property or such party of the property as each order necessary. The clause and such attachments shall have the same effect as if made by competent court. Is a miscarriage of justice and should be expunged. 47. Section 60 of this bill should be replaced with the provision of the Cooperative Society Law 2015 because it represents the true cooperative practice. 48, Section 64, line 5, delete the phrase "and officers or former officers of the society." It is only fair for whoever calls for an inspection to bear the cost of this exercise. 49, Section 68, the phrase "where it is condition of the registration of a society that is to consist of at least 20 members should be expunged, and it is unnecessary repetition in the section. Then, provision of Section 77, subsection 2, confer excessive power on the director to spend on claim monies of liquidated societies should be rewarded. 2. Section 80, subsection 1, C, line 2, instruction should be deleted as it has no place in the provision of law. 3. Section 83(2), line 5, 50,000 naira daily fine for misuse of cooperative name is too draconian and is 5,000 daily is recommended. 4. Still in Section 83, subsection 3, there is need to legitimize the freezing of the accounts by the director. Hence, there is need to add the phrase "by court order" obtained by the director after the word "freezing." 5. The functions of the apex body as acknowledgement of its relevancy and the responsibility to the cooperative society in the state enumerated in the Cooperative Law 2015 should be reinstated. 6. It is necessary to create a new section with a side note, risk mitigation, to read: every society shall insure its members' loan at annual premiums of 1% to mitigate the risk associated with sudden death, permanent disability, and incapacitation. LSHA Fed Insurance Broker Limited shall serve as intermediary to facilitate all insurance needs of society as stated in subsection 1 and other insurance as may arise. Mr. Speaker, the recommendation. Recommendation 40. Based on the above observation and memoranda submitted by stakeholders, the committee recommends as follows. In the interpretation section of the bill, delete the following words and their definitions. A, days, directorate. C, dispute resolution panel, months, and tertiary cooperative organization. Also delete the definition of apex cooperative organization and replace with Lagos State Cooperative Federation Limited, LSHA Fed, made up of multipurpose cooperative union, state cooperative association, and secondary society in the state. 2. Delete the phrase of the director in line 3, section 5. 3. In section 6, subsection 7, line 2, change 3 years to 5 years. 4. Create a new section 7 in the bill with a side note, appeal to read: 1. An applicant may appeal against the refusal of registration under section 6, subsection 4 by writing to the commissioner within the 14 days from the date of notification of refusal. 2. The commissioner shall consider the appeal on the merit and make an appropriate decisions as deemed fit. In section 7, subsection 1C, line 3 to 4, delete the phrase "all registered secondary society operating tertiary society within the state." Also, section 7, subsection 3B, line 3, include the phrase "subject to the commissioner's approval." 5. Create a new section 9 with provision of section H4, A and C with the side note, disqualification for registration. 6. Make 12 and 13 of the bill to create a new section 14 with the side note restrictions. 7. In section 17 subsection 1, line 1 of the bill, delete the phrase approval of the director and replace with the resolution made under this law. Also, regulation made under this law. Also, in subsection 2, line 4, delete the words affixed a seal and replace with the word signature. 8. In section 18, subsection 1K, inside the word election before the word appointment. Also delete paragraph N of that section. The committee sees to see no relevance in this provision as tenor has been handled under paragraph K. 9. Redraft section 19 subsection 2 of the bill to read 2. Amendment of the bylaw of the registered societies are not be valid until it has been forwarded to the directorate in the manner prescribed and duly approved. Also under section 19, delete subsection 4 and replace it to read, where the director is certified that the amendment is not in conflict with the law and the regulations made under it, the director's side calls the amendment to be registered. 2. Upon registration of the amendment, the director's side issued 2 certified and sealed copies of the registered bylaws to the society. 3. The said copies shall be conclusive evidence that amendment has been duly registered. 10. Delete section 22 of the bill and replace to read, a registered society shall not grant loan to any person who is not a member of the society. The purpose of this section is to properly safeguard the savings of members of a registered society from being used as loan which may result in bad debt to the society. 11. Delete 27 of the bill, section 27 of the bill, replace to read, a registered society shall have a first line charge on A, deposit on assets for which a loan is used by member or past member, and B, a member's interest in the society and movable and unmovable property in the payment of the member or past members' outstanding dues payable to the society. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a problem in that 12, section 12. The idea is to delete completely section 28. When you look at it, you will see there is, the interpretation is not okay. So the legal department will redraft it, and that is why we say completely deleted. Praise. 13. Redraft section 32A to read us. Insecurity issued or guaranteed by the government and approved by the general meeting. Also delete the word director and replace with the words general meeting in paragraph B, C, and D. Members of registered societies should be able to decide how their funds are invested while having their general meeting. 14. In section 38(2), line 3, delete 2 months and replace with 3 months. Redraft section 3 to read us. Any society that contravenes the provision of this section commits an offense and liable to conviction to a fine not less than 50,000 naira only. Finally, the list of section 4. This provision is overbearing. 15. In section 41(1), line 1, delete the word subscription and replace with the supervision. Also delete section 2 and replace to read, the fee due in subsection 1 must be A, administered by the director and shared equally between the ministry and Lagos State Cooperative Federation, LSHA, and remitted by the director to the ministry and LSHA respectively. 16. Delays of subsection 3 of section 43 of the bill. This is in order not to arrogate too much power to the director. 17. In section 44, subsection 2, Roman figure 1, include the phrase, who shall be an officer not below grade level 12 in the case of registered society in the public service, after the word president. 18. Section 41, section 45, 1, increase the tenures of management committee of a single purpose society from 1 year to 2 years. In subsection 3, line 2, replace 2 years with 4 years. Lastly, delete subsection 5. 19. In section 46, subsection 2, end the provision for that section with the words at 6 months and delete the phrase any such other further period as may be determined by the director, period to the constitution of a new executive committee. Also create a new subsection 3 and see to read us. 3. The caretaker committee shall ensure that the general meeting is held immediately and new management committee is elected. 6. Where the holdover is due to an effect of force mayor, the director shall not dissolve the management committee until such time as the force mayor is over. Renumber other sessions accordingly. 20. Delete the phrase imprisonment for 6 months in section 48, line 3, and replace with 6 months non-custodian sentence. 21. Delete side note of section 53 and replace with the power to supervise election. Delete subsection 1 and 2 and replace to read on. The managing committee of registered society shall constitute from among its members a 7-man electoral committee to organize election of officers for the registered society. 2. The directors shall have power to supervise elections into committees of registered society. 3. Election into committees shall be by secret ballot. 4. Each member of registered society shall have 1 vote only during the election. 5. Where the vote given in election are equal, a rerun shall be conducted immediately. 6. Where there is an equality of votes after a rerun, the 7-man electoral committee appointed under section 1 shall cast their vote to decide the winner. 22. Mark the provision of section 54(1) B and C to read us. Where a deceased member did not provide nomination before death, the management committee shall transfer the shares of or interest of the deceased or some representing such share or interest to the legal representative of the estate of the deceased in accordance with the regulations made under this law or bylaw of the society. 23. In section 55, line 1, delete the word of after the word debts and inside the words own to. Do the same in section 56, line 1. 24. Delete the word mediation panel, section 59, where it occurs throughout the bill, and replace the dispute resolution panel. Redraft the concluding provisions of subsection 14 to read us. The director or dispute resolutions shall seek a court order for conditional attachment of the said property or such part of the property as necessary. Also in subsection 13, line 3, delete the phrase and shall not be called into question. 25. Delete section 60 subsection 1 and replace to read, the account of registered society shall be audited by auditor selected from the approved list of auditors given by the director. 26. Create a new section 61 in the bill with the side note, complaint against auditor, to read us. The directors are, on receiving a written complaint against the auditor by a registered society, cause an investigation to the complaint, and where the auditor complaint against is found culpable, the auditor shall be suspended or blacklisted. 27. Delete section 63, subsection 3, and replace to read, the creditors shall pay such sum as may be required by regulation to the directorate as cost of proposed inspection and administrative charges. 28. Create a new section 67 with the side note, cancellation of registration of registered society by merging the provision of section 67 and 68 of the bill. 29. Delete section 72 to 75 of the bill. This section deals with the provision relating to the liquidators, which are adequately provided for under CAMA. To legislate on it, shall be ultra-fire, non-adford, ab initio. 30. Delete section 77 subsection 2 and replace those to read, subject to the provision of subsection 1 of this section, all money lying on claims shall be deposited in the state treasury. 31. Delete section 78 paragraph H and I, as some of the provisions are contained in the body of the bill, while some are to be made by the registered society themselves in the bylaw, which are to be approved by the director. This is in order to uphold the principle of independence of registered society. Also, delete paragraph AA and BB. Lastly, on section 78, create a new section 79 with the side note, translation of regulation, with the provision of section 78 subsection 3. 32. Delete the side note of 79 of the bill and replace with the society outside the state, but with offices in the state. 33. Create a new section 80 with the side note, withholding of remittance, to read us. As from the commencement of this law, no host organization of registered societies shall withhold the deductions made and which ought to be remitted to the registered society. 2. A host organization that misfully holds onto society's fund shall be referred to National Industrial Court. 34. In section 8 subsection 2 of the bill, delete 1 million naira and replace with 250,000 naira. Also, delete the word imprisonment and replace with 3 months non-custodian sentence. In section 4, delete the words 1 million naira and replace with 150,000 naira. Also, delete the phrase imprisonment on or both. Lastly, delete subsection 5 and 6. 35. Delete section 83 subsection 3. This provision is overbearing. 36. Overreaching. 36. Inside the words and savings to the side note of section 87 of the bill, also create a new subsection 2 to read 2. Nothing in this law shall affect any other rule, regulation, appointment, or anything already done under the repeal law, except same is inconsistent with the provision of this law. Delete the provision of Schedule 1, Section 8. It has been incorporated into the body of the bill. Conclusion. The committee expresses its gratitude to Mr. Speaker, members for the opportunity given to us for this assignment. We also appreciate the acting clerk of the House and the Secretariat for their support and for ensuring the timely completion of this report. Thank you. Honorable B.C. Yusuf, Chairman as Committee on Commerce, Industry and Cooperative.
Thank you, distinguished Honorable B.C. Yusuf, the Chairman of the Committee. Honorable Kasumu Adedamola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I therefore move that the report presented be adopted for debate.
Honorable Makinde.
Support the motion.
All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Mohammed Folajimi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Firstly, I'd like to commend the prime mover of this, the reporter, Honorable B.C. Yusuf. For me, I think with all that has been said and with the corrections that have been made, this seems to me a pretty straightforward correction, and would ask that we look to give it a speedy approval. Thank you, sir.
Honorable Rotimi Olowo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to support Honorable Mohammed by saying the committee has done a great job, but I have one particular section I think I need to be tutored, or because I need clarification. Page 14, precisely, sir. Page 14, if you look at the last leg of 31, we are lastly under section 78. Create a new section with the side note, translation of regulation, with the provision of section 78.3. Then when you go to 32, it says delete the side note of section 79 of the bill and replace with societies outside the state, but with offices in the state. The clarification I'm seeking for is that we have two sections 79 here. That one, in one breath, you said, create a new section 79 with the side note translation of regulation. That's one. The second one, delete the side note of section 79 of the bill and replace with societies outside the state. So this, I think, if it's going to be additional section, it's supposed to be section 80. And the subsequent sections should be amended, because here we are having two sections. One on translation of regulation, the other one on societies outside the state, but with offices. I would have expected that delete side note of section 79 and make it section 80 with the side note, societies after the state, with offices in the state. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I see your point. Honorable Ishao.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues. I must commend the committee as well. Done a very thorough job. I have three observations I would quickly like to make and suggestions if possible. Permit me, Mr. Speaker, to start from page 5, which is actually the observation to make sense to this point I want to make. Item 26, which states that in section 38.3, the phrase, and in the case of a continuing offense, to a further fine of 50,000 naira only for each day during which the offense continues should be deleted for being draconian and impracticable. Now, in the recommendation of the committee, which is on page 10, which is item 14, if I'm correct, it states that section 38.2, line 3, delete 2 months and replace with 3 months. Redraft section 3, which is now 38.3, to read, any society that contravenes the provisions of this section commits an offense and liable on conviction to a fine not less than 50,000 naira. Mr. Speaker, let me quickly explain what is happening here. There's an audit report that you're expected to turn in within a time frame, 2 months after the period. Now, if you don't turn it in, the original bill imposed a fine of 250,000 naira. Then every day after that 2 months, or those 2 months, you now be required to pay 50,000 naira daily to make sure you pay. Fine, it may be very draconian, as we have said here, but I still feel that there should be some penalty beyond the stipulated day, so that it will encourage people to to make that report available. So what the committee had recommended here, one, to change the 2 months to 3 months, giving them more time, which is fair. Reduce the 250,000 to 50,000, comme ça, which is okay. But removing, my suggestion, removing that daily count beyond that day may not encourage them to actually turn it in. What you want is for people, it won't serve as deterrent, that's the right word, deterrent. So what we want is for them to submit. It's not like it's a penalty, but you have 3 months to comply. So for you to fall into that penalty, it will be that you have chosen not to comply within those 3 months, which I agree the committee has done well by extending it. So I will crave the injunction of this sitting that the fine of daily, maybe 5,000.
Is there? I guess there is a place that they indicated 5,000.
No, that's another one.
Another one entirely.
That's another one. In short, I'm actually drawing from the suggestion of that other section that should also apply to this section.
So what you are saying is that you do not want a total deletion of the
daily
fine, daily fine. So
yeah, and it should be about 5,000 naira. Thank you, sir. Then the second point, if you permit me again to read the report, then we'll go to the actual recommendation, is item 39, Roman figure 39, I believe, which talks about section 53, sub 3. In the event of the vote given during a society's election being equal in number, the chairman of the society's electoral committee shall cast the deciding vote by secret ballot, and the president has the power to casting vote. So this is the observation or recommendation of some people. The committee now recommended, starting from page 11 to page 12, I will pay attention to page 12, which is now recommendation 21.6. What you are trying to cure here is that when there's the equal vote, the president should cast, use the extra vote. It cannot be done in secret. It has to be open. Everybody already knows it's a draw. By the time the president casts, whichever way it goes, they know it's the president that did it. Apparently, I even heard that some people took them to court on this issue. So now what the committee has done to try and cure this is that during the elections, they normally have they are recommending a 7-man committee to conduct elections. In that 6, the committee is now saying that where there is an equality of votes after a rerun, that after there's a first equal vote, they do a rerun. If there's still equality of vote after the rerun, the 7-man electoral committee appointed under this subsection shall cast their votes to decide the winner. Now we have moved the casting vote to 7. Or we are saying they are not going to vote originally, because you have said at the section 1 here that the management committee of a registered society shall constitute from among its members. So meaning ordinarily they have right to vote. So if you are going to say they are not going to vote at all, it is only when there is equal that they are going to vote. They will ask us, why am I being denied my voting right? Or we are saying that there will be 7 extra casting votes at the end if there is a if there is an equality of votes. So we need to look at that very well. I will suggest, I don't know how practicable it is that they should continue that rerun until a winner emerges. If you want to cure the issue of casting votes totally, so they should continue the rerun. They will sit in there. If they feel as if they want to elect a pope, fine. They will sit in there until they get a white smoke before they leave that room. But by putting it this way, we may create more problem than we are trying to solve. That's the second observation. Observation 3 is the speaker. Thank you for indulging me. Observation 3, permit me to read the report first. That is the observation first before I go to the report. That one is on page 7. Item 52, I believe. Section 83.2. The line 50,000, this is the one you were referring to, Mr. Speaker. 50,000 naira daily fine for misuse of cooperative name is draconian. 5,000 daily is recommended. Now, if you go to number 4, sorry, page 14, where that matter is addressed. The recommendation here deleted that section, sorry, that 82 is not addressed at all. So it means that it's still there. It's the same 50,000 they will be paying. I don't know if it's an omission. They've observed it that it's 50,000 and it's draconian. But in the recommendation, 83.2 has been omitted on page 14 because we have 82, we have Gen 83.3. So that means it will stay at that 50,000 naira every day. If that is what we want to do, fine. But I'm just pointing it out that that is what we are leaving there. So it will be good for us to be consistent and decide which one exactly we want to achieve. If we change it to 5,000, I think it is okay. It is nice. It would allow people to, I think a daily penalty if you have not complied, and that would be a deterrent. Those are the 3 observations I have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I hope the questions are clear to the chairman. Very well. Honorable Okunlawon.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to join my colleague in commending the chairman, House Committee on Commerce, Industry and Cooperatives, and his members for delivering this to us. The work done by the committee is, to me, very thorough and capable of bringing sanity to the cooperative society space. Interesting to me is page 6 and section 59 of the bill that now provides for alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Hitherto, cooperators would always drag themselves to court unnecessarily, but where there is now a law which provides provide options of alternative dispute resolution, that will make things very easy. So that's a very good one from the committee.
And also fascinating to me is that section 17(1), which now gives power of making bylaw back to the cooperative society instead of the director making up bylaws for the cooperative society. It's very fascinating. It gives power to the cooperators to deal with their situations. Mr. Speaker, sir, and also attractive is page 11, section 53, that dealt with election. It thoroughly dealt with election and gave pathways to free, fair, and transparent election. And I also want to go along with the committee regarding the aspect of the chairman of the electoral committee having a casting vote as against what my senior colleague, Honorable Ishao, said. Because we cannot keep election in abeyance or undetermined for a very long time. We can't keep election in abeyance or undetermined for a long time. We must find a solution, and that's the only sure bet and sure way of resolving such challenge. Again, sir, there's also a safeguard to the savings of members that has now been brought in by the committee. That safeguard is where the members' savings are well utilized, not allowing outsiders incursion into the activities of the cooperators. Either to
observation. Honorable Layode, let's hear your observation.
no,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I want to observe, Honorable Okonlawon, that we are beyond the stage that they are taking us back to. I think this should have happened in the second reading, where you come and give us the advantage and disadvantage of the bill. So now what we are looking toward, that we are taking the report. And the report we are taking, either we are correcting or we are amending something. And the way it's giving us, just giving us the importance and the disadvantage and what he has even done when he was the chairman. So I think we should move forward. That's why I want to observe him that we are beyond that stage now. We are in third level. So that's my observation, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you for your observation, but I guess it was speaking to the recommendation. However, if you are in agreement with all that has been recommended, could you give us your observation or your comment on those you do not agree with, so that we do not waste time? Honorable Olu, is it?
Thank you very much, sir. I just want to inform this House that Honorable Okonlawon is a member of that committee, hence he cannot discuss, because he's a member of the committee. He doesn't have the privilege of doing that. Thank you, sir.
Well, no, it was Honorable Okonlawon was the former chairman of House Committee on Commerce and Industry, and is not a member as we speak right now. However, the chairman, can you respond to issues of concerns raised? Mr. Chairman.
tí ì ṣetán náà. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there are still questions for the chairman. I think we should take it all home.
I'm not saying, Majority Leader, you want to speak?
Yes, sir.
Oh, very well. Please, could you please hold on for the Majority Leader?
Huh?
Please, you can raise your observation.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, I want to join those
Let me say that you are in a very disadvantaged position there. I couldn't even see your light and co. So, however, please, go on.
I think the solution is to look at my side more than the other side. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm looking at it, I cannot see your light. But I can see you here. It's okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to join those who have commended the report as presented. However, I have 3 critical questions to ask the chairman because I was at the public hearing and there are issues that made a lot of controversy on that day, which I do not see as having been resolved by this report. Mr. Speaker, first is in respect of election on page 12. Mr. Speaker, I do not see the logic of democratic tenets which allow people conducting election to also vote. Once a committee has been formed to conduct election, those that are to conduct the election, notwithstanding their members, have been differentialized. They have been disemphasized by participating in the conduct of the election. We cannot appropriate and reprobate at the same time. Having selected them to conduct the election, they are automatically under democratic tenets disqualified from casting their votes under no conditions. Else, you are saying that while they are supervising the election, conduct the election, they had their mind as to who to support. So the electoral organizing body usually differentiates from conducting election. And I think I am persuaded by what Honorable Yishao said. There should be other method of ensuring that victors emerged in the election, rather than asking those who are ordinarily disenfranchised to all of a sudden become franchised, be given franchise to conduct the election. I think it's not logical. Once they have been elected to conduct the election, they should remain as unbiased umpires. To now ask them to come and vote again, you're asking them to wear their biased toga and now cast votes. So we now know that while they are organizing the election, they are already having their minds of who to vote for. There should be a way to organize it, Mr. Speaker. So I think it's not proper to ask them to come and vote again. Mr. Speaker, penalties to me are deterrent mechanism for those who may want to. And there are times, most times, the penal bar is always raised and not reduced. And if that will be reduced, it should not be so ridiculously reduced. To that extent, Mr. Speaker, I'm talking to page 14, under section 35. Mr. Chairman will need to explain to us why 1 million naira is reduced drastically to 250, and why 1 million is reduced to 150,000 naira, when the actual intention of penalty is to prevent people from doing something. So when you now reduce the penalty downward, review it downwards, you are lowering the bar and encouraging people who may be so threatened by the penalty and do not want to fly in the face of the law to now fly in the face of the law with impunity. So I think that area should be looked at. We need explanation as to section 35. Mr. Speaker, there is Mr. Speaker, I see in page 7 observation under observation, I see something which I've been trying to locate under recommendation with no avail. In section 46, under the observation, with permission to read, Mr. Speaker, still in section 59(14)B, line 3, the draft to read, the panel may seek, oh sorry, let me start from 44. In section 59 subsection 14, line 1, replace director with panel. This is to guard against confinement of excessive power on the director. Now it goes further to section 44 under observation to say, still in section 59(14)B, line 3, the draft to read, the panel may seek a court order for a conditional attachment of the said property or such part of the property as deemed necessary. The clause and such attachment shall have the same effect as if it's made under a competent court. It's a miscarriage of just blah blah. Now it comes to section 45 downwards, Mr. Speaker, to say that still in section 83(3), there is need to legitimize the freezing of bank accounts by director. There is need to legitimize the freezing of bank accounts by director. Hence, there is need to add the phrase by a court order obtained by the director after the word frozen. Whereas in one hand, we are saying that it is not the director, that director should not go to court. We should reduce the power of director by constituting a panel. It is the panel that should approach the court for order. We are now saying, on the other hand, that we should legitimize the power of the director to approach the court for an order against any member of the society for anything. So we are saying, in one hand, the director should not approach the court. It should be the panel. At the same time, we are saying that we should legitimize the power of the director to approach court. I think we have to look critically into that particular area. Mr. Speaker, these are my observations, in respect of the report. But in all, the report captures more positively things that have been agitated on more than, except also that I remember that it was said then when Honorable Okolawon presided the public hearing that the issue of LSHA should not be imputed into the law because LSHA is an organization on its own and there could be a splinter, there could be another body formed. So why do we now to legitimize an association by putting it in the law? The association name may change at any time. Anything can happen to it in such a way that there should be a way of capturing the activities of LSHA other than making LSHA, institutionalizing it in the law of the state. So, Mr. Speaker, these are my observations for the chairman to respond. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Tobun.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Well, first and foremost, I want the chairman to talk on the item 49. That is section 83, that is page 7, section 83(2), that has been mentioned by Honorable Shao. That must be captured in the recommendation. 2, page 13, item 30, where they said delete section 77 subsection 2 and they place to read, subject to the provision of this subsection 1 of this section, all money lying on claim shall be deposited in the state treasury. In my own opinion, I I want a situation where we should put a time frame. Before you can call a check, a draft as a due draft, at least we have a feeling of it will stay like 6 months. So if an account is going to be called dormant, it has to be on loan for some period of time. So before we consider a money lying unclaimed, there must be a time frame. 1 month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If not, you just discover that monies will just be going to state treasury without a time frame. So I want us to include a time frame in that area, money lying unclaimed for a certain period of time, so that corporators will know that if your money is lying unclaimed for a period of time, you cannot challenge. But without that, you will discover that corporators will be losing their money to state treasury. Thank you.
Sakashulaja, Honorable Sakashulaja.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My observation is page 4. Page 4 based on cooperative society is worldwide acceptance association. And in line with international financial accounting, which they observe in page 4, is omitted in the recommendation. And I think it's very, very important. It should reflect in recommendation, in as much you want to be in line with the latest accounting standard. That's my observation.
Thank you. The chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, thank you very much for your observation. The purpose of report, the House has given us an assignment. We have done the assignment and we presented it to the House. So it is incumbent of the House to decide what to do, and where the amendments should be necessary, we should put it. Our report is not a final report. If it's just a final report, third reading will be given. But to our most distinguished Honorable Olowo, thank you for your observation. And I know that what we can do in that very aspect is to renumber. And that one we have to renumber, because if we should alter it, it will have serious effect on the report. So we are going to renumber. Thank you for your wealth of experience. Honorable Israel, I know. Thank you. I did not approach you when I was lobbying around. I did not approach you because I know whether I approach you or I did not approach you, you will force out what you have seen. So I prepared seriously for you. So I'm very happy that you have suggested that very well. And what you have suggested is very somehow okay for us. They are going to review it, and we are going to do justice to it. The legal department will look at that again and see what they can do before the third reading is casted. But our secretariat is also taking your recommendation. It will be part of the resolution of the House. So they will do that. I know. Yes. Majority leader. I'm not a legal man. You are a barrister. I'm not a barrister, but I have the intellect to carry me to any level. So, 1,000,000 to 250,000. You said somebody who could not pay, and the money is there, you could not pay. Then you find 1 million. Where will you get 1 million? Somebody steal a goat, and you say you should go and compensate with elephant. How will you be able to do that? That 1 million is too much. It's too much. It's too much. We can increase it, but 1 million is too much. Yes. And you must know that most of this society also, before they contribute, it's just from their petty trading. But I'm not encouraging fraud. For us is to put sanity into the society. But at the same time, we must not put something that it will not be workable. We must be moderate in it. So with 1 million, if 1 million is high and 250,000 is minimal, we can go to Africa and we see what we can do with that. So we still reconsider it. Then on the aspect of the director going to court or not going to court, before, what the power they given to director is that he could just frozen the account without any legal recourse to court of law. That's why we say, if you want to frozen the account of anybody, any society, you must obtain the court order. That's our intention. Though it may not be truly rewarded, but you as a lawyer, we beg you to reward it the way it should be. But our intention is just that you cannot just frozen the account of anybody without recourse to court. And that is the Constitution. It's constitutional matter. But you, as a legal luminary, we will enjoy you, and the majority leader of the House, please do justice for that very report. Thank you.
Well, the chairman, you are not being legalistic, but you are using your intellect and native intelligence, I assume. However,
then there is the other one, the Honorable Tobu made a statement which is very valid. Time frame before the money is transferred to the treasury. I think it's very, very important. We have to put time frame. We have to put time frame. So on the election aspect of it, we consider it the majority, I mean the members of society, they have the right to elect the officers that they want. They have the right to elect the officers they want. But in the times of tie in the election, they can go for rerun. Then after the rerun, that's why we suggested that. But if we find that one that is not all right, then we can continue rerun will continue the something. Then you will be encouraging fraud. Yeah, we will be encouraging fraud, because at that very material time, the person who has the money will win the election. Or you will be enticing the member of the society. But that's our intention, that okay, the panel, and that is what they suggested at public hearing, because I was there. That's the suggestion for public hearing. But the House can decide. And they agree. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The issue raised by the majority leader was, you are saying that the director cannot, on his own, frozen any account. However, just wait. He's saying that you had given the power to the panel. When you look at your observation, you had given the power to the panel. Then you also go ahead in the 4th paragraph to say that the director, having taken the power from the director, you now say that he can also approach the court. You had given the panel the power to approach the court earlier. I just guess that you will work with your committee and legal department and then straighten out that minor issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have adoption. Honorable Rotimi Olowo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the recommendation of the committee as amended be adopted as the resolution of the House. I so move.
Honorable Adewale Temitope.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second the motion as moved.
All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. The majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, the purpose for which the House dissolved to committee of the whole has been accomplished. I therefore move that the House reverts to plenary. I so move.
Thank you. Honorable Tijani Sirajuddin.
I write to second the motion as moved.
All those in favor say aye. All those against say nay. The ayes have it. The majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, at the Committee of the Whole, the House took the presentation of the Chairman, House Committee on Commerce and Industry in respect of its report on the Cooperative Society Bill 2020. The presentation attracted some comment questions, and the Chairman, House Committee on Commerce, using his native intelligence as captured, described by the Speaker, answered the question and promised to do the needful in respect of the areas, the gray areas raised in the report. Subsequently, the motion for adoption of the recommendations of the committee as a resolution of the House was taken and adopted. Mr. Speaker, I wish to say that that is what transpired at the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Honorable Kasumu Adedamola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to affirm that this is a true recap of what transpired at the Committee of the Whole.
Honorable Kazim Adewale.
I rise to affirm the confirmation. I rise to second the affirmation, sir.
I heard you. Abi? Those who support the affirmation say aye. Those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Majority leader.
That compel the House to speak Yoruba on Thursday so that we can take the presentation and matters listed on the other paper. Now that those have been done, I wish to move that the House reverts the use of the rules earlier suspended. I so move.
Honorable Kundri Moluyunka.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand to second the motion as moved.
All those in favor say aye. All those who are against say nay. The ayes have it. Olórí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tó pọ̀ jùlọ.
Ẹ ṣé abẹnugan ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin. Ìpàdé tí ò ní àti ṣe gbogbo ohun tó yẹ ká ṣe lábẹ́ ìlànà ètò ìjókòó tòní. Ní báyìí, ó yẹ kí a mú ètò ìjókòó náà wá sí ìpamọ́. mo ti gba ìyọ̀ǹda lẹ́nu abẹnugan ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin ipe ká sún ètò ìjókòó ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin síwájú títí di ọjọ́ 27 oṣù tá a wà nú ẹ̀ yìí ní dédé agogo 12 ọ̀sán mo dá a lábàá.
Honorable Tijani Surajudeen.
Mo dìde láti kí àbá náà lẹ́yìn.
Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n fi ara mọ́ kan sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Àwọn tí wọ́n fi ara mọ́ kan sọ wípé bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Àwọn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni náà pọ̀ jùlọ. Ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin fi ìpàdé rọ̀ di ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun ọ̀sẹ̀ tí ó ń bọ̀. Mo gbéra sọ.